Welcome back, thanks for joining us. Last week we were learning how to treble crochet. We added it to our pile. We've got our 4 skills now. It's getting bigger, proud of you, That was a whole ride, doing all the practice makes perfect. You're allowed to throw a tantrum, but deep breath, carry on. As long as you carry on, that's all that matters. If you're new here, hi, my name's Gracie and this is my sidekick Jasper. He's always in the background crocheting with us. We post Tuesdays and Wednesdays. On Tuesdays we post tips, tricks and tutorials where we cover crafty how-tos such as crochet, knitting, embroidery and stuff like that. And on Wednesdays it's more of a vlog of what we're doing over the week and what we're working on. Some of the things that are going to appear on there will also be up for sale at some point when I get it together, and that most finished things go up on my Instagram. If I'm happy with them, they go up on the Most Peculiar Peach, so you can check it out there, and I will add it here and in the description box below. If you found today's video helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Subscribing is totally free and is just a way to follow my content and support the channel. So today we're working on something a little bit different. We are going to be knitting. So where all our little skill squares that we've collected have been crochet, we are gonna add a fresh new one to the pile, and we are going to be learning how to knit. All you're going to need for this tutorial to follow along, I'm just swiping up, is a pair of needles. I am using bamboo. Just a little tip, with bamboo or wooden needles, there's less, you have a bit more control because they're not with the metal ones. It's easy to slip stitches and, you know, drop stitches because there's not enough friction. So you do have quite a lot more control when you use wooden needles, just as a little tip. I'm actually using, I've got 2 sizes here. If I was going to knit normally with this, I've got some double knit here, I would probably use a 4 as I would a hook. It's kind of the same concept really, because the thickness of your needle or your hook, it correlates to the gap between your stitches. Does that make sense? So if you had a really small needle and a much larger yarn, everything would be a lot tighter because the needle is what makes the room, if that makes sense, because you can't make a stitch smaller than the needle that you have because obviously the needle's in the way, if that makes sense. So I would actually use a 4, but as you can see they're quite fiddly and they're quite spindly. So I suggest when you start, obviously double knit is cheap, but I would recommend going a little bit thicker if you can to practice. I mean, you can try out different things, but I would recommend simple, cheap practice, because if you find out you don't like it, you're just gonna throw it in the bin. No, but we're not going to do that. We're going to keep going, we're going to keep strong. I believe in you. So I am actually using a 5.5 because this is the closest that I thought. It's thick enough that we can see what we're doing and the stitches are clear, but thin enough that I can use double knit. Okay, let's get started. Okie dokie then. So first off, we want to make our slip knot. So short end on the right hand side, a couple of inches of room for sewing in later. Wrap it over your index finger like so, with the short end on the right hand side and the working yarn on the left. Yeah, so it's called the working yarn. I keep calling it the long end, but it's the working yarn. Cross over your short end to the left hand side to make a cross. Then you're going to take your working yarn, wrap it over your finger, and use your middle finger and your thumb like so to keep it in place. See that? And then you take the left loop and you bring it over the right. That is how I make a slip knot. There we go. Okie dokie. So we want to take our slip knot and put it on one of our needles with the short end on the inside on the left, and then we can pull the working yarn. Make sure you don't pull it too tight, you can't still move it up and down your needle. So this is a little bit different to obviously crocheting because we've got two instruments. How it's going to work is when I show you obviously how to knit, when you knit you're going to be transferring these stitches. When we cast on and we make these stitches on this side, when we knit we're going to be transferring them onto this side, and then as you would turn your work in crocheting, when the stitches are then transferred onto here, this turns into the left needle, and then you keep going like so, you keep rotating the needles, okay, but we're always working from the left to the right, from the left to the right. So the needles obviously are going to switch over, they're not a designated needle, but when we transfer by knitting, the stitches that are going to be on this needle to this one, this then becomes the left needle on the next row. Right, so this is called casting on. So we're going to cast on our stitches. So we're going to cast on 20. Okay, and to do that, it helps if you have a little bit of space, so obviously your stitches don't slip off the end, but you don't want to be working all the way down here because you're going to have less control. So I kind of hold them just gripping on and working. I like to use my index finger and my thumb to kind of move the stitches as I need them and where I need them to be. And obviously when it comes to holding your yarn, I use my 3 fingers like so and have it kind of on standby so that you can go do your wrap round and then you hold it again. You see, so I hold it steady with my left hand as I'm working. Okay, so once you're comfortable with obviously how you're going to hold your needles, I like to just grip them like so. Some people hold their fingers in a certain way, but how I hold them, just kind of not too tight but not too loose that I don't have control over what I'm doing. I get less hand cramp when I'm knitting, so it's like get comfortable with how to hold it because you don't want to be so tense that your hand cramps up. And then obviously using the yarn, I think I use my index finger and my thumb. So once you're comfortable with that, we're going to cast on. So using your right needle, what we want to do is leave a couple of inches off the end so you don't slip off. We're going to go into that loop and make a cross like so. you can hold it obviously with your 2 fingers and your thumb in place so it doesn't slip about. Then you can use your right hand, take your yarn, wrap it round, hold it in place back here, and then we're going to use our finger and our thumb to slide it. You've got to be careful when you do this because we're going to try and catch that loop there, that loop, and then you pull it up. Use your left, see that's why you got to hold it still. Using your left needle, we're going to want to wrap between that loop and attach it by pulling the working yarn. Okay, so we've just made 2, we've casted on 2, like so. Okay, so with your right hand needle, go into the stitch you just made, make your cross, use your right hand, make sure you're holding it together with your other hand, supporting it. With your right hand, twist round, hold still, and use your thumb and your finger to catch that loop there. Once you've caught it, pull up a loop. Make sure you don't let go of your yarn because it can get fiddly. Holding everything in place, you've got to think 2 hands doing 2 different things. It takes practice. Holding it in place, and then with your left needle, you're going to latch onto that loop. And then you just pull it, and then we've got 3 there. Okay, so with your right needle, make your cross, hold in place, right hand, yarns over, holds in place, left hand catches the loop, right pulls it up, left catches the loop, right pulls it tight. So it's kind of right hand does one job, left hand does the other. Right hand does one job, left hand does the other. Right? I'm going to show you one more time. So through your stitch you just made, make your cross, hold in place with the left, yarn over with the right, hold in place, catch the loop with the left, pull up with the right, get the loop with the left, pull tight with the right. And even though I say obviously one hand does one job, the other does another, you're working in harmony. So obviously when I'm pulling to catch the loop, I'm also pulling with this hand. It's finding that rhythm of what works. That's where the practice comes in. Okay, so I have casted on 5. I'm going to cast on 20 and I will meet you back here when you're done. Feel free to rewind the video, pause, get comfy, rearrange, practice, practice, practice. See you in a bit. Okay, the reason I'm showing you obviously my work now is now that I've got to 15 casted on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, you can notice there's not a lot of room left on the hook. You can just move them down gently, space them out so they're easy to see, and that will give you room to do your last 5. We'll do that together now. Insert your needle, make your cross, holding firm with your left hand, yarning over with your right hand, holding it steady, using your left hand to push the needle down and your right hand to catch your hoop, go between and attach and pull tight. 16. Insert your needle, hold firm, yarn over, push off the end, catch the loop, pull up the loop, go between and pull the loop tight. 17. Insert your needle, hold tight, yarn over, push it off the end, catch the loop, pull up the loop, go between and pull tight. Insert, hold tight, yarn over, hold steady, push off the end, catch your loop, pull up the loop, go between, pull. 19. One more. Insert your needle, make your cross, hold steady, yarn over, hold steady, push off the end, catch your loop, pull up the loop, go between, pull it nice and tight, not too tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Woohoo! Right, so now that we've cast it on, we are going to knit. So, if you move your stitches close to the end but not so close they fall off, you can hold them steady with your left hand. You're gonna make your cross as you would for casting on, yarn over, and instead of pulling up your loop, you're going to catch your loop and slide it off the end. That's a knit. Insert into your next cast, yarn over, catch your loop and push off the end. Make your little cross, yarn over, catch your loop, push off the end. Make your cross, yarn over, push off the end, and then push it off the end. Insert your needle, cross, yarn, push off the end. Insert cross, yarn over, catch the loop, push it off the end. Insert, hold steady, yarn over, push off the end, catch your loop, and then push it off the end. Okay? Meet me back at the end when you are done. Whilst you're knitting, if your stitches go all like this, all you have to do is just unfold them like that. So this was our right hand needle, and now we're going to cross them over like so. You'll notice one side looks like this that we did, and the other, when we turn it, looks a bit more frilly. So you know the difference. Okay, so we're going to just, this is all you do continuously. So you insert your needle, hold in place, yarn over, catch the loop, push it off the end. Insert, cross, hold, yarn, push, off. Okay, you can push your stitches up a little bit. Insert, cross, hold, yarn, hold, push, catch your loop, push it off the end. Okay, insert, cross, yarn, push, off. Insert, cross, yarn, push, catch, off. And it's just that continuously. Okay, and that is how you knit. I'm going to do another row and then meet me back when you got to the end of this row. Right, so now we've done 2 rows. Okay, this is what 2 rows look like. I'm going to show you one more time, 3 times a charm. Show you one more time, and then if you need to re-watch, you can rewind. Okay, so insert, make your cross, yarn over, hold, push off, catch a loop, push it off the end. Insert, cross, yarn, push, catch, off. Insert, cross, yarn, push, catch, off. Insert, cross, yarn, push, catch, off. One more time. Insert, cross, yarn, push, catch, off. Alright, so this is the 3rd row, so I'm probably going to do maybe about 20, but I'll insert it about here, how many rows I did in the end, just for a bit of context. We're just trying to make a little square just for practice, but I am going to make the square, but when I have not yet finished, I will show you how to recover from a drop stitch. Right, so that's 30 rows I've done, 30 rows there. So we casted on 20 and I've done 30 rows, just make a little square for reference. So that's good. Hope you kept cool, hope you kept going on that. So I wanted to show you a little tip. I don't want to confuse you too much, don't stress about it. because if you're just practicing, I suppose you could just unravel it and do it again. But I'm going to show you now how to retrieve the drop stitch. Okay, so if I do a couple of stitches in like so, and then say, oh, you're doing it, whatever, and one just goes bloop off the end, right? Freeze, by the way, just freeze and grab it and pull it up, and you can actually put that one straight back on there and keep going. Don't stress, just keep going. Don't be like, oh no, and then just go yeet, because it'll fall all the way through and you'll basically have to start again. Although, contrary to what some people say, I think it is retrievable if it does fall through. I mean, it's a bit of work, but what's a bit of work when you've already done a lot of work? So, for example, oh, your little matey drops off. Oh, so it's going to be painful. And slips through. Okay, slips through one. Make note or try to pay attention on how many it slips through. And hang on, let me just grab my crochet hook. So you can actually use a crochet hook to save it. So you're looking at it like this with the loop, this massive loop that's just come through. You can pull that back through. See that? And that can just go back on your hook, like so. So that's why it's handy. That's why I like switching crafts, because you can just do whatever with whatever. So it's just falls off, slips through. You're like, oh no, like, ah. You pull it up, get your little hoop, get the hook, put it through the hoop, and pull that yarn through and stick it back on your needle. Okay, there's no need to stress. If it falls through, it falls through. It's about practicing, learning from it. Okay, don't like throw a strop and then be all, oh, I never want to do this again. You just got to keep trying. Don't want to hear no excuses. Keep going. How do you think people become legends? They're not born, they are made. And yeah, I am going to do my last row and then I'll be back. Okay, so now finish that little miss out. Also I did 30, but I actually did 31. So now we're going to cast off. So it's not like crochet where you obviously have the one hoop on your hook and you just pull it through and that's that, you're done. So it's kind of like knitting, but not. Okay, so obviously you're gonna start off as if you were knitting. So you insert your hook, have your cross, yarn over, pull it off the end, right? So you're basically gonna knit 2 stitches, and then when you've got 2, you're gonna take the left and bang it over the right, and then you knit another one, and then you grab the left and you pull it over the top like that, and you just basically keep doing that. So you start off as if you're knitting, so you do your cross, insert, do your cross, yarn over, catch your loop, chuck it off the end, and then I like to hold it in place with my finger and my thumb. See that starting to cast off already? And you want to just keep everything really still, lift it up. You can use your fingers as well if it helps. You just catch that loop, and that's what you do all the way along. You basically knit one and then pull the back loop, the previous one, over the top. Knit one, pull the previous stitch over the front one, and then you just keep doing that, and then obviously it casts off. Make sure you catch all your loops and that. But don't panic if you don't, just pick it up, sort it out, continue. I'd recommend as well to do this quite loosely, because it can tighten up the whole thing. Like obviously if this bit's all loose down here, you want it to have an even tension, so just relax, you know, there's no need to do it like super tight. Just keep it groovy, not super tight, not super loose, just because it will tighten up on its own as we go around anyway. Yeah, pull the back over the front, bombs away. Right, once you've got one left, then it kind of is similar to crochet. Set your other bits aside, get your trusty scissors and leave a couple of inches for sewing in and give it a snip. Right, pull it up, your loop, you can take your needle out now and you can pull it through. Make sure you pull it through, because if you just pull it, you're going to just undo everything you just did. Right. And yeah, and that is how to knit. I know she's little, but good things come in small packages. Just keep practicing. I know it's difficult to obviously think, oh, I've just made that. If it's your first wear, keep it. Do another one. Unravel it, do it again, unravel it, do it again, and that way you can save money, save yarn, and there it is. And that is how to knit. And yeah, go forth and knit, my dears. Huzzah, brilliant. We've got to the end. We've collected another skill, collected another square to add to our little pile, to show off to our little mates. What's going on? We are clever. Keep going, keep trying. You want to have a tantrum, have your tantrum, then calm it, curm it, and continue. Okay? But yeah, other than that, proud of you. I hope you have a wonderful week. See you next Tuesday.